You're watching The Hub live from London. I'm Peter Dobby. These are the top stories on this edition. Athletes move into the Commonwealth Games village in Delhi after team officials decided their accommodation is now good enough. And the Palestinian president has urged Israel to extend its just expired freeze on Jewish settlements by at least 3 months to give the Middle East peace talks a chance. The Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has said there is a need for opposition in her country, but not if it tries to, quote, create chaos and save war criminals. Her comments come as she visits the United States for the UN General Assembly in New York. Bangladesh is, without question, going in the right direction. Child mortality rates down, as is the number of people who live with chronic hunger day in, day out. But the country's recent past has been far from straightforward. Sheikh Hasina held the position of Prime Minister from 1996 to 2001, becoming the first in the country's history to complete a 5-year term. In the elections of 2001, her Awami League party lost out to her political rival, Khaleda Zia, and her Nationalist Party. In 2006, a caretaker government took over as Bangladesh went through a political crisis that saw riots on the streets and emergency rule then being imposed. Now that all came to an end in December of 2008, when Sheikh Hasina's Awami League won a landslide in parliamentary elections. And since then, one of Sheikh Hasina's biggest moves has been to set up a war crimes tribunal which will prosecute people accused of committing war crimes during the country's War of Independence back in 1971. Sheikh Hasina joins us now from our bureau at the United Nations in New York. Sheikh Hasina, thanks for joining us here on The Hub. As far as the War Crimes Tribunal is concerned, some people are asking questions over the method in which people are arrested. The central accusation is that your government is using that to suppress opposition. What's your reaction to that claim?
I think the claim is totally baseless, because our government, we have taken a step to try the war criminal who violated the human rights and committed different kind of violation like raping women, arsenal, and other things. So it is obvious that during wartime, the crime they committed, they should be brought to book. Otherwise, you cannot bring discipline in the country. So it is those who are accusing us that we are taking any revenge to the opposition. It is totally baseless, I repeat, because what we are doing, it is for restoration of democracy, human rights, and our liberation through long struggle, through bloodshed. We liberated the country.
Okay,
so
just to interrupt you just for a second.
Okay,
when you talk about democracy and human rights, given the size of your political mandate, which is absolutely huge, is there a case to be argued that says you've got to be seen to be doing this properly, i.e. if you want people to go to this war crimes tribunal, that's fine, but how you arrest them, how you detain them, how you put them through that process must be seen to be fair?
You see, in our election manifesto, we mention that we'll try the war crimes or violator of the human rights. And people voted for us. The huge mandate we have received, especially the younger group, it is their demand that these criminals should be punished. So, according to our election manifesto and election plays, we are going forward. There's nothing to take any revenge or anything. It is for the sake of our country and will of our people, the steps we have taken.
Okay, when you were in opposition, one of the motifs of your mandate then, at that point, if you will, was your idea talking about freedom of speech, freedom of the media, freedom for the newspapers. And yet, back home, not in New York, but back home, you are facing almost weekly criticism for imposing, for example, state news on the newly independent stations that are setting up in your country as well. What do you say to your critics on that point?
Listen, in our country, since 1996, only one television or media was allowed, that is government media, that's a BTV. It is my government, it was my government, we allow the private sector, all the satellite TV and other TV, what you are seeing now.
Yes, but if you're using the private sector, pardon me for interrupting you again, but if you're using the private sector to broadcast your news, where's the freedom in that?
Listen, actually at first, when you allow this private sector television, that time there was an understanding, then at least they will broadcast government news twice a day. But at first it was agreed from both the sides, and that's why we just requested them, and we will see what we can do. It is nothing wrong with it.
Okay. I am not having a pop at you, obviously, Sheikh Hasina, and or your country. Last point. What's your reading of how your neighbours, India, have handled the questionable run-up to the start of the Commonwealth Games?
Well, I beg your pardon?
What's your reading, what's your analysis of how well the Commonwealth Games have been handled so far in India?
India, they handle it according to their capability. So I think I don't have any point to say on this ground.
But do you think it's done India's reputation some harm, perhaps?
I think it is better you ask this question to India. How could I say that whether Indian reputation has been harmed or not? How can I say that?
Are you completely convinced and confident that your athletes will be safe when they go to Delhi?
I hope so. I hope so.
Sheikh Hasina, many thanks for joining us.
You know, it is their responsibility to give security to the player.
Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh's Prime Minister, thank you very much for joining us from our bureau at the UN in New York.